Ryan Day's portal strategy should be simple: quality over quantity.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Thursday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, Vetch, your sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. During today's show, we'll discuss why Oregon is suing Carlos Locklyn, as well as a couple of Buckeyes that have already entered the portal. But first, Ryan Day has a really good track record of focusing on the right thing when the portal is open, and that should be the same approach right now after spring football has concluded. Focus on the quality of a player. Don't worry about the quantity, because Ryan Day has some holes in the roster. As he's leading the football program, he knows where the Buckeyes should focus and put all their attention towards when trying to acquire players from the portal. Worry about the guys that can be game changers, and also worry about the guys that can provide an impact, potentially provide an immediate impact. And you can find guys in the portal, maybe on the edge, maybe on the interior of the D-line, or maybe the defensive backfield. Wherever the case may be, there are guys in the portal that can be game changers and that can fill the holes in your roster right now and make Ohio State's roster a more well-rounded roster that'll make a whole lot of noise in the fall. And think about where Ryan Day is right now after spring ball has concluded. You know the type of team you have. You know the players that are coming in. You've gotten a lot of run with the early enrollees, Zion Grady, Bo Jackson, and others. And when you got a lot of run from the young guys, and you know the core of your team, the guys that are on your two deep that are going to play a whole lot of ball this year, you know where you want to be right now in the spring. You also know where things aren't sitting too well with you. I mean, for me right now, when it comes to this team, I think there are some obvious situations and areas that Ohio State should put their focus and attention in when it comes to the portal. D-line, D-tackle, defensive end, no question about it. It's a no-brainer. You must go out there and try to acquire a guy or guys at those positions. Other ones that still need some attention, just not as important. Quarterback. You need some veteran leadership in that room. Offensive line. You could never have enough quality offensive linemen. Not at all. I think the tackle depth is better than I expected. The interior of the offensive line, after Shabola, Hensman, and Montgomery, you could even put Ceravelt in that mix of that interior core of the Buckeyes O-line. Who's next? Josh Padilla? Okay. Who's after him? I mean, I know guys on the field, guys on the team. I don't know if they're ready to be that depth piece like we saw that Ohio State did a year ago. That's where the portal comes in. And if you get a guy right now on the O-line in the portal, he's probably not going to start. And if he does, he might be a gem, a la Josh Simmons. And so, yes, it's possibly going to get a guy to come in and start, but more than likely, you're a depth piece. You also want to get guys that have multiple years of eligibility left. It's possible you may get a guy that could be a game changer that has 1 year left to play college football, but primarily you want a guy that you can get 2, maybe 3 years out of to get him in your program, get him in the culture, get him up to speed, so you can work with him. So you're not having this cycle of over and over and over again having to go to the portal because you have holes in your roster. It's very similar to John Calipari when he was at Kentucky, focusing on, well, I know he's at Arkansas now, but there are guys that are at Kentucky that follow him down to Fayetteville. But when John Calipari was at Kentucky and he really started making a bigger name for himself there in Lexington, what did he have? A one-and-done factory. And I remember, I don't know if it was the year they won the national championship or not, but it was one of those years they had Devin Booker and Trey Lyles. I don't know if Marcus Teague was on that team or not, but that was a team that had, what was it, a 2-platoon? 5 in, 5 out, 5 in, 5 out. And I know the numbers weren't as eye-popping as you may think they should be, but that Kentucky team had 7 guys get drafted. But what did that do to Coach Cal? It had a cycle of one and done. Oh, you're a high-caliber kid coming out of high school? Come play for me for 1 year, you'll get to the NBA. That's the ultimate goal. Yes, that's great. And so Cal was doing the thing over and over and over again. But what did you find? Eventually, that one and done cycle got played out. And then you found teams like a Gonzaga or a Baylor or the Texas Tech getting and making deeper tournament runs. Why? Because they had older, more mature players. They had senior leadership guys that had been around for a while, and it was the cycle of college basketball. Yeah, you can do the one and done thing for a little bit, but college basketball has always been, for the most part, it's been about the older guys, the more mature players that have been around for a really long time, that have been in a program for 2 or 3 or 4 years, that have played for that long too. So they've seen a lot of ball. They've seen a lot of different things on the court, and they know how to overcome adversity even on the biggest stages. And that's Ryan Day too. Ryan Day can focus on getting guys that play a whole lot, not the 1-year rental. Yes, the Will Howard thing worked, but 9 times out of 10, Ryan Day is not going to get a 1-year rental at quarterback. Ryan Day's not going to get a 1-year rental at any position. I mean, the Tyrone Malone being a backup defensive tackle, that's an interesting thing because he was down at Ole Miss. Him and Igben were down at Ole Miss. But what did Ryan Day do when he acquired both of those guys in the same cycle from the southern portion of the country? Those were guys that had multiple years to play. So not only did Ryan Day get quality athletes from the portal, he got guys that also had a lot of years left to play college football. IGB, multi-year starter, had a phenomenal interception before halftime against Penn State. He also has some things to work on. But what does Ryan Day get to do? Work with him some more. And it makes his defense more solid and a better unit because IGB has been there. What's going on now? His third year with the Scarlet and Gray. Ryan Day should focus on that. There are a couple guys right now, well, at least one that is scheduled to visit Ohio State at the time of this recording. That is former North Carolina edge defender Bo Atkinson. He's also scheduled to visit Georgia. And his plan is to visit other schools right now throughout the process to make sure he finds the right spot for him. Also, TJ Bush Jr. has officially entered the portal. We touched on him yesterday. The Everydayers got a little glimpse about that athlete and what kind of player he is. But now we can say concretely he is in the portal, and it wouldn't shock me if that's another guy that Larry Johnson and Matt Patricia go after to try to bolster up the edge and get guys that are quality athletes that can provide an impact right now and can change the game once they get on the field. But you got to get them first. Ryan Day has a great sales pitch. We just won the national championship. The team that was here from last year, yeah, a lot of those guys are gone, which opens up a door for you to come in here and play right now. Yeah, maybe in a backup role right now because there ain't no way, I don't believe, that they're going to jump K-Jack or Caden Curry in the depth chart. I don't believe that at all. But I do believe there's a scenario where these guys come in, get on the field, you get a 4 or 5 or 6-headed monster on the edge. We're generally at Ohio State, you got top 2 guys. You got 4 guys may play, but you know there's a significant drop-off between the starters and the backups, where if you bring in an Atkinson or a Bush Jr. to go along with Logan George, CJ Hicks, Caden Curry, and K-Jack, what are you doing? You're providing necessary depth and allowing you to be more multiple on defense. The same thing goes at other positions. Let's say Ohio State brings in a quarterback that's an older guy. What does that do? Makes that room more well-rounded and also provides that room with some experience that is desperately needed right now. Other positions, Ohio State's probably going to go out there. I do believe O-line is one. I think defensive back, either corner or safety, doesn't really matter. I still think there's a need for those there. Not as great as D-line, but there's a need for those guys in the defensive back room to have more competition. They're competing every single day. But if you could go out there and get a better guy, maybe a safety that could be a hybrid safety or someone that can play more of a Jordan Hancock role, be a nickel corner or a deep safety, just wherever you need me, he can go out there and do that. Those are the kind of guys Ohio State needs to go after. But focus on the quality of the athlete. Don't worry about the quantity at all. That's not Ryan Day's method, and it should never be the way Ryan Day approaches the transfer portal. Ryan Day right now is approaching the transfer portal realizing he may lose players to the portal. And unfortunately for the Buckeyes, a couple guys were with the Buckeyes during spring ball, but they're now trying to play football elsewhere in the fall. This episode is brought to you by Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more, experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. If you need help with a marketing campaign, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivered incredible results. Posting a job is free and simple, and within a day, with multiple qualified candidates to choose from. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com, to connect with top talent and grow your business today. This episode is also brought to you by Epicor. Every team knows the value of hard work, of taking pride in what you build, and practicing every detail to get the best results. But no one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. At Epicor, the All-Stars are the hard-working manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver the things we all need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices. Epicor ERP solutions are created by industry experts to help make every day easier. Seeing your whole supply chain is easier. Managing logistics is easier. Responding to price changes is easier. From small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global vision, we'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way. Because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most of every hard-working minute. Easier doesn't cut corners, easier takes the lead. Discover your success at www.easierwithepicor.com. That's www.easierwithepicor.com. Thank y'all for tapping Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Ohio State is like a lot of schools out there around the country that are planning to have players leave their program to go play elsewhere in the fall. And on the first day the portal opened up in college football, Ohio State lost two guys. Now, there are two guys that were also walk-ons, but one of them received high praise from C.J. Stroud. The other was a former transfer to Ohio State that didn't play. The one that you may know, that's a name that you have probably seen on the back of a uniform, is Reis Stocksdale. He's a wide receiver, has 1 year left to play college football, a guy that C.J. Stroud had some high praise for back in 2022, that he believed Stocksdale would do big things there in the Buckeye uniform, but never really got going. 5'10", about 190 pounds, probably more of your traditional slot receiver. And Stocksdale was a punt returner, had returned 2 punts, played 6 games of 2022, caught 1 pass for 12 yards. The numbers aren't sexy at all, but he was a solid depth piece. And Stocksdale was a guy that was on the scout team week after week after week, getting those DBs ready for some fierce competition the next time they stepped on the field. So losing a guy like Stocksdale is big. Yes, he's a walk-on, but walk-ons are very, very, very important to the makeup of a team and the development of a team, and helping them prepare for every single game. So losing Reis Stocksdale is odd. I think Stocksdale, for me, his best spot for him would be just a group of 5 school. Go find a school that's going to be a school that's going to pass the ball, throw it around the yard for a little bit, so you can get on the field quickly and have some fun your last year playing college football. I do think there is a scenario for Stocksdale, just based off of things we have seen and the little snippets of him being able to be in practice and clips going around and getting our eyes on him on the practice field. I think Stocksdale could be a player in a league after college football. This is a massive projection. We have no idea, but he has to go to the right place that throws the football around that will allow him to be the best receiver he can be. I mean, he's not the only receiver, the first guy that's a walk-on receiver that left Ohio State. No, there was another one recently that I think he played at Ohio. His name escapes me. I remember seeing him on a game day. I think it was a game day special or ESPN, somewhere along the line. His name was going around social media and on TV because of some big things he was doing outside of Ohio State after transferring out. The other player that transferred away from Ohio State is walk-on punter Anthony Venneri, former Buffalo punter, transferred from Buffalo Played a couple years at Buffalo in 22 and 23. He has 2 years left to play college football. He didn't play at all during his lone year playing in Columbus, Ohio. During his 2 years playing at Buffalo, his season high for punt yardage average was in 2023, where he averaged 43.6 yards per punt. He had one touchback in 2022, one inside the 20 in 2022. Another guy that he's just behind guys. I think he could go out there and punt and be a 2-year punter, starting punter at a school down the road. Another school, probably another G5 guy. The one thing about him, he is behind Joe McGuire and Nick McLarty. McLarty, I believe, is an Aussie that came into Ohio State a year ago, about 6'6", 240. His dimensions may be off. I know he's tall. I know he's bigger than the average punter. But these are two guys that could play. And if I'm a school out there trying to figure out, man, I need a punter. I know he has the Ohio State tag. There are no numbers next to his name, so I know he didn't play. But does he have the goods? Look at the 22 and 23 film for Anthony Venneri and look at that and say, well, yeah, he can punt. Yeah, he was just behind the guy at Ohio State that he couldn't jump. But yeah, he can punt. Go back to the G5 level. For Stocksdale, yeah, you could probably go to a middle to the bottom feeder in the Big Ten. You're an Ohio kid, so it would make sense if he ended up going to an Ohio or Toledo. If he went to Youngstown State, which I know was a different level, being the FCS, it doesn't matter. It's still a place for him that's in his home state that would also allow him to play football right now. The walk-on leaving Ohio State right now, not mad about it, especially for Stocksdale. Stocksdale could have been a special teams guy. He could have been someone that would have been like the fourth or fifth punt returner or kick returner because I don't think he was going to be top three. If you think about him, punt return, Brandon Ennis, Marlon Graham, Caleb Downs in any order. Stocksdale's not jumping those guys at all. He's in a room with some of the best players in the country. And so is he a bad receiver? No. Can he be a guy that has 50 or 60 catches in the fall? Yes. In the right scenario? Absolutely, I think he could. But I think Stocksdale's the one that I'm the highest on. Also, I don't know nothing about, like, I think I don't know nothing about Venneri. When I saw his name come across my screen as the report came from Buck Nuts about him entering the portal, I saw the name. I went to look up pictures of him. I have never seen him on the field. I may have seen him punt in a warm-up. I don't know. I have no idea. But all I do is wish the best. I wish the best for both of these young men. For Venneri, for Stocksdale. And it's only day one. I never want to see someone that's in a Buckeye uniform leave on day one of the portal and then all of a sudden I turn my back on them and say, oh, no, it's going to be trash. No. I don't do that. That's not me at all. Now, if you were to go to the team up north, a la Tony Alford, not a player but a coach who was at Ohio State for a very long time under two really good college football coaches. Oh, no, you go to the team up north, that's a little bit different. Well, I wish ill will on you? No, I want you to succeed. I want you as an individual to succeed in life. I also want you to lose to Ohio State when that game happens Thanksgiving weekend. I can't go lie about that. I want Tony Alford to have a successful life. I also want Tony Alford to never beat Ohio State again while he's wearing those colors. I don't want him to do that. Is that petty of me? Maybe. Is it real? Absolutely. What's also real is these two guys left. My gut tells me there will probably be about 3 more guys before Friday is over. When the sun goes down on Friday, my guess would be there would be 3 more guys. They enter the portal. They might be walk-ons or guys that are third in the depth chart. Just try to go find a new place to play college football. I wouldn't be mad about it. I get it. It's the nature of the beast. I just hope none of them are like a Nico Iamaleava. Oh, I want to double my salary via the NIL, even though my play wasn't worthy enough to request a doubling of my salary. Then all of a sudden, he's going back home to his home state there in Southern California to play for UCLA. And at the time of this recording, the report that Nico was going to commit to UCLA was debunked and it was not official. Ohio State doesn't need guys like that. No, money hungry or whatever's going on right now with Nico Iamaleava. Yeah, bad advice. He may have received bad advice, but ultimately he made the decision, which also makes me scratch my head and wonder why he did what he did. I'm also scratching my head and wondering why Locklyn was sued. Well, I was when I saw the report. I dug a little bit deeper. I think it makes sense. It also might not make sense. We'll settle everything after the break. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action right now. When you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props. From three-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Once again, guys, make sure you don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Thank y'all for tapping Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. There was a tweet that came across my phone, my timeline on just a day ago, and it was talking about Oregon suing Carlos Locklyn. And when I saw Oregon, I'm already intrigued. I know Dan Lanning was talking about some things on Bustle with the Boys that Ohio State fans would like. And so Dan Lanning's already in the news cycle. Oregon with Dan Lanning's connections in the news cycle. So I see Oregon, Ohio State, and Locklyn. I'm locked in, baby. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Then I started to read a report that Oregon is suing Carlos Locklyn or sued Carlos Locklyn for a breach of contract. I'm thinking, what? A breach of contract? What is going on? And earlier this month, Oregon filed a civil suit against Locklyn, who left his position as running back coach at Oregon to be the Buckeyes running back coach. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that. I'm trying to keep on going down. And per report, Oregon claims that Locklyn owed the school a buyout of 50% of the remaining salary in his contract, approximately $400,000. Now, there's some dispute about the position that Locklyn took, that the amount due is $200,000, which Locklyn personally mailed a check of $200,000 to Oregon on May 28th in 2024. Per the report, Ohio State contract last year stated that it would pay Locklyn $200,000 toward a buyout at Oregon. So it definitely seems like, just based off some of the things that were said and that were reported, Locklyn did something. Ohio State was going to do the rest. A check was declined. And Oregon's trying to get all their money from Carlos Locklyn. In every contract, there's words and there's verbiage that it's legal stuff. And as smart as we are here as Buckeye fans on this show specifically, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't understand all of the legal jargon. I don't at all. I try to get it. I try to read legal documents. My wife and I just bought a house. Previously, I had only lived in an apartment on my own that I was solely responsible for paying for. I read the legal contract there for the apartment lease that I signed, and we're reading this stuff for a mortgage, and I'm sitting here thinking, man, I don't know. Man, I know the words, but the way they put it together in the legal lingo, I've never used that in alliteration, but it sounded good. I might do it again. It's just so odd. But when you put it into terms we can understand, buy out $400,000. Locklyn mails a check. In the contract Locklyn signed with Ohio State, they were going to give the other part of the $200,000. But as everything kept going on, Locklyn's team believes everything was done, but the university declined the check and now asserts an untenable interpretation of the agreement, and I think that's where things got a little murky, a little odd. Yeah, there was a prorated amount there. There's more stuff going on with this lawsuit. With all I realize for Locklyn is this doesn't look good for him. It doesn't look good for Ohio State because Locklyn is employed by Ohio State, and the contract that Locklyn signed is going to take care of some financials that Locklyn owed Oregon via the buyout in his contract. Oregon's claiming something. The dollars and cents seem like everything was done. Even the prorated amount of $366,000 is less than what is in the written contract for Locklyn of $400,000 that was left for him to pay back to Oregon. Oh man. All this does to me is that, well, one, legally, like pay your debts. If you owe somebody, pay them. If you pay them, make sure you have a paper trail that you paid them. So that they can come back and say that we declined something. No, you have a trail of paper. You keep the things that you do. You owe people. You pay your money. I'm not going to say Locklyn's right or wrong. If Locklyn owed them that money, make sure the money gets paid. That's it. I ain't going to pick sides. That's just life. I'm not a person to say, well, he's for Ohio State, Oregon's wrong. Absolutely not. If he owes that school money, pay it. And Oregon Ducks fans may come on this show and say, well, no, you took Ohio State's side. No. I will say it to Locklyn and I'll say it to you. If you owe somebody some money, pay them. Because if you don't, the bill collector's going to come. Trust me. As someone that has had some issues in my life, paying people on time, you don't want that bill collector to call. Because they're going to call over and over and over and over again. And you start hitting the side button of your phone to mute that phone call. What are they going to do? Call 2 times, call 3 times, maybe call 4 times in a day. Why? Because, baby, they want their money. And you know how it is when people owe you money. Maybe nobody's ever owed you $400,000. Maybe somebody's owed you $5. And what do? You do what you need to get that money. Back in the day, I was thinking about this recently. I was in high school, and junior and senior years of high school, I had a car. My parents were fortunate enough to allow me to have a car. And I drove some people to school. Patrick Patterson and Charlton Clancy and my friend Amanda Perkins, and we just rode to school. My brother was with us too and had a car full at times, 4 or 5 people, packed in my Chevy Malibu, my 99 Malibu with the crank down windows. You just go ahead and drive to school. And after a while, for some people, they're like, oh man, it's a free taxi service. Hop in Jay's car, go to school. Jay drives about 15, 20 minutes one way to get to school. We all gonna be good. After a while, I had to start charging people $5 because that was when $5 was gas money, $5 a week. Well, there's people that don't want to pay, and you got to push them and press them and say, hey, man, give me my money. People don't like it, but that's the reality. If you owe somebody some money, pay them. And if you don't, can't get mad when they come for you to try to get that money. But not only does this say something about in a contract, making sure you pay people the money that you owe them, this might intensify the Ohio State and Oregon quote-unquote rivalry. I don't know if I can even say it's a rivalry right now because they ain't even played 30 times yet. They ain't played 5 years in a row for it to even be some sort of a rivalry. It's not more of a rivalry than Ohio State and Illinois, which play for the Ella Buck, which is up for grabs next year once again. Or I still think Ohio State, Penn State. When Penn State says they're unrivaled, trust me, there's a reason why Penn State fans get upset when Ohio State comes to town and that game's not a whiteout. You say unrivaled, that's cool. That's tongue-in-cheek. I get that. The reality is, y'all know how it's coming to town. Y'all know how intense those games are. Y'all know that everybody in their mama wants that game at night, so it's under the lights right there in Happy Valley with that whiteout going. Y'all play Mo Bamba, and man, look. Ohio State, Penn State, still bigger than Ohio State, Oregon. The team up north in Ohio State, enough said. Ohio State, Oregon might be inching towards the conference rivalry status. I think it's a period of time you have to consistently play each other before that's even a reality. Not there yet, but it's possible that Ohio State and Oregon meet 4, 5, 6 years in a row. Even if they don't play in the regular season, they could meet in the conference championship game, which is very likely to happen in the fall. And I didn't go to the Big Ten title game last year, but trust me, if it's Ohio State and Oregon, your boy might be in the house. That's one thing I want to see. 2 of the bigger brands in the sport battling it out for the Big Ten title. Thank y'all for tapping the Locked On Buckeyes right here on a Thursday and making this show your first listen of the day. For your second listen, make sure y'all tap in and Locked On NFL Draft, because before you know it, the draft will be here. But in the meantime, make sure you get up to date. Where Will Howard might fall, and Abuka, and Josh Simmons, and other Buckeyes that are draft eligible that are trying to make history and make a big moment, make the dreams come true in the draft. Well, the NFL Draft is the place to be to get you prepared for that big 3-day stretch. You can follow me. You can find Locked On Buckeyes and Locked On NFL Draft on the YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. That's on Locked On Buckeyes right here on a Thursday. We'll see you next time.